You're watching the Sports and Political channel of LB. If you're not subscribing to this channel, make sure you hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and share these videos on your social media platforms. Let's get down to business. So, a lot has been made of the Boston Celtics getting blown out by the Miami Heat after they were able to tie the series being down 0-3, only to lay that egg in Game 7. And, there was a lot of people out there that was calling for the firing of Joe Mazzulla, right? So recently, you had Danny Ainge. Now, mind you, Danny Ainge is the CEO and president of the Utah Jazz, right? Danny Ainge did a recent interview with Dan Shaughnessy of the Boston Globe, and he was allowed to weigh in on the situation that went on in Boston. Now, mind you, Danny Ainge is with the Utah Jazz. He has no business talking about what's going on with Boston because Danny Ainge ain't been there in 2 years. So what that he have friends there? So what that he drafted a lot of those players that are still there? You are not with the Boston Celtics. You are with the Utah Jazz. So why is he talking about them? Why is he able to speak on the Boston Celtics despite the fact that he wasn't there? Ain't that tampering? Shouldn't Adam Silver be coming down on Danny Ainge like he did with Magic Johnson when Magic Johnson was asked a question about Giannis Antetokounmpo when Magic Johnson was a executive with the Lakers, and he answered that question and he got fined for that, and Adam Silver came out and was blunt and was stern about that. Don't talk about players or coaches on other teams. Then you had Draymond Green when he was a color commentator for Inside the NBA, and he was speaking about the Devin Booker situation out in Phoenix. This when Phoenix Suns were horrible, right? And Draymond Green ended up getting fined for that. He got fined $50,000 for that, right? Don't talk about players on other teams. Don't talk about coaches on other teams. Adam Silver was very blunt and he was very stern about that. So how come Danny Ainge hadn't got fined yet? I'm just throwing that out there because I'm noticing something. How come Danny Ainge ain't got fined yet? An article coming from masslive.com. It's a publication out of Massachusetts. Despite departing from the Celtics front office 2 years ago, Danny Ainge still has his fingerprints all over the Celtics roster construction. His picks of Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Marcus Smart have transformed the Celtics into a perennial East contender over the past half decade, with one NBA Finals appearance. Ainge spoke with Danny Shaughnessy of the Boston Globe after the ugly Game 7 loss to the Miami Heat in the Eastern Conference Finals. Ainge serves as the CEO of the Utah Jazz and has hired away top assistant Will Hardy to coach the Jazz before Ime Udoka's suspension and termination. Now, Joe Mazzulla was a finalist for that job before Will Hardy ended up getting it, and Boston prevented Joe Mazzulla from being on Will Hardy's staff. Now, Danny Ainge delivered a defense of Joe Mazzulla's performance and gave his 2 cents on what ails the team after a tough bout of shooting luck against the Heat in the finals, Eastern Conference Finals. He goes on to say that he works for another company now, but he's trying to defend his friends. He's known Joe Mazzulla. He hired Joe Mazzulla 4 or 5 years ago in the G League. And he still cheered for his friends. That he didn't think the team quit on Joe. There was plenty good evidence they did not quit on him. He think that they just weren't playing well. The team's overall confidence struggled after the comeback wins against Philly, which was really the highlight of the season. Ainge credited the Heat's role players for delivering huge performances against Boston, but cited the players' inconsistencies rather than Mazzulla's miscues as the main driver for the disappointing exit. He also took a shot at Ime Udoka, saying that Joe Mazzulla was a better coach than Ime Udoka. Oh, I'm sorry. Um, Ime Udoka got the Boston Celtics to the NBA Finals his first year and only year. But Joe Mazzulla is a better coach? Look, I know you try and defend your friends. There's a whole nother thing of blatantly lying, Danny Ainge. That's a whole nother thing. I know you try and defend your friends, but there's a whole nother thing to lie, Danny Ainge. And here's another question, right? Why did three assistants on the Boston Celtics coaching staff leave to join Ime Udoka if Ime Udoka was so bad? Explain that, Danny Ainge. Why did three assistants for the Boston Celtics leave to join Ime Udoka in Houston if he's so bad? No, I see what you tried to do. I see what you tried to do, Danny Ainge. But all that aside, you are not an executive on the Boston Celtics. Why are you talking about them? And why isn't Adam Silver finding these guys already? Danny Ainge should be fined. This is tampering. That's all I gotta say about that. I salute everybody. You Suit Knight, Octavius TX Mays, Slim 21. Everybody that's gonna be watching this video, everybody that's gonna watch the replay after this stream ends, due to YouTube's failure to do their job and sending out the notifications. But hey, whenever you catch this, I appreciate you. I appreciate you for watching, and also hit that like button too. Now, if you're not a subscriber to this channel, make sure you hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and share these videos on your social media platforms. Last but definitely not least, shouts out to the LDBC. This your man. Scream at me. Hey!